She wants to be like Uma Thurman. Always been one around him. Oh. Hey, everybody. Welcome. I am a multi-voice reviewer. I have many voices, but one opinion. And today is another Multi-Voice-Oween. And for today, Multi-Voice-Oween, there's something I wanted to talk about that, I did have one request from, but, haven't come around to it, but now it's time to talk about it. Since I heard that there's a brand new Addams Family coming out in theaters, and sooner or later it's going to be out on DVD and Blu-ray soon, and of course, sadly, I already reviewed the Addams Family. But if any of you never saw my Addams Family review, I can send a link down below. Because I always have a soft spot for the Addams Family, you know? Ba-ba-ba-boom. Ba-ba-ba-boom. Man, I wish I had a dollar every time I do that. But right now, I'm going to be talking about another TV show. Except instead of a whole family who's into the macabre and the gothic side of things, I'm going to talk about a family who is more monstrous than the Addams Family. The franchise I'm going to talk to you today is none other than, and it came from Universal, believe it or not, is the Munsters. Now, unlike the Addams Family, the Munsters here are actually a normal, average American family, except they all look like monsters. As you can see from the show here, from the picture here, you have Herman Munster, who is a Frankenstein monster, his wife Lily the vampire, their son Eddie the Wolfman, and Grandpa, aka Count Dracula, Grandpa Munster, although they call him Munster, but he prefers to be called Count Dracula. And of course, their niece, Marilyn, who's just a normal average girl. And one thing is really funny, though, that every time when Herman here always shows up in front of people, people just stare at him and just quickly ran. And even every time when Marilyn meets a guy and invites him over to meet her family, and every time when a guy took one look at Herman, they just run. All of a sudden, just run. And they think it's Marilyn. She scares another one off. And always keeps saying, "Oh, what's the matter with me anyway?" It's not her problem, it's Herman. He scares everybody away. But they're just too oblivious to understand. And, unlike, now, in Lily Munster, unlike Morticia, who every time when she speaks French, Gomez always gets so wild and always keeps kissing her. Like, she always says, anytime, mon cher. Mon cher, that's French! Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lily here is actually a, sort of the one who wears the pants around the family. She's a lot smarter than Herman here. Herman, he kind of acts a little like a kid sometimes. And, here's my impression of Herman. Lily, I'm home! And every time when he walks by, and he's so tall that something always hit his head, it'll be like, boom! Oh, Grandpa! Grandpa! I got a boo-boo. And of course, Grandpa Monster, he gets along with Herman, but sometimes they do act like children when it comes to other things. Like one time when it was Eddie's birthday and Grandpa made a go-kart for Eddie, Herman, being so eager, he wants to drive it, and he always keeps crashing it and always pees Grandpa off, that they always go into a huge fight. When something keeps happening, Grandpa and Herman always fight. And Grandpa, one thing about him being Dracula, Dracula. Hey, Count Dracula! Are they a part of your family? What? Me? A member of the Munsters? Nah. Uh, Hang on a second. Me? A member of the Munsters? Nah. That there's my brother. He likes to be called Count Dracula because, well, we are the Dracula family. Ever since I became a vampire, he followed along with me. And then after, when most of the monsters and vampires decided to become more peaceful and have the Board of Health, I stayed in Transylvania for a while until I went to England. Unlike my brother, he wanted to go to America. And that's when his daughter met Herman, and that's how all that changed. Anyway, it's good for you to review the Munsters. I always try to remind you to review them. So, good luck. As for me, Count Dracula, out. Thanks, Dracula. Well, at least that's out of the way. And believe it or not, the people who created the monsters are the same company who made the Universal monsters, my favorite classic horror movie monsters. Universal made this. Anyway, I can do a good impression of Grandpa Monster. He's like this. Oh, gee, what happened? One minute I was out in the woods, next thing I'm here chasing a cat. A unique mad scientist. Ward surplus parts. Well, that is my impression of Grandpa. And Eddie, he's a werewolf, so sometimes he howls at the moon, and other times he just likes to have a lot of fun over certain things. And that's one thing about Eddie, being a werewolf and all. Altogether, there are sort of a monstrous average American family who goes through every certain same problems and issues just like an average family always do. Although they live in a spooky house in 1313 Mockingbird Lane, where that's where they live. Now, what I have here is the first season of the movie, but believe it or not, they made 2 seasons of the Munsters. Let's see. Now, the shows are kind of black and white, so some of you folks who don't like black and white shows, you're lost. As for me, I'm used to black and white movies and shows. But these shows started back in the 60s. Back then, before horror movies now becoming so popular in television. Episodes. They made like over 38 episodes in one season. And a little known fact, when they first made a pilot, they did change things. In the original pilot, Eddie Munster actually literally looked like a real monster. I mean, looked like a real werewolf, going all, I won't do it, you can't make me! Until they changed Eddie to make him look more like this. And one thing about the wife, though, the character of the wife, her name was Phoebe in the pilot, and she looked very similar to Vampira and Morticia. And Universal didn't want to be sued by the copy looks from Morticia and Vampira. That's why they changed Lily Munster and also had the character recast. But the actor who played Marilyn and Herman and Grandpa, they stayed in the pilot, and they've been throughout the entire show. Except Marilyn, though. The actress who played Marilyn, she was homesick because she was in California and she met somebody in New York, and she felt kind of homesick being with her boyfriend. That the actor who played Herman and Grandpa told the people that they noticed that she's been crying every time after they're done doing their shot. So they had her replaced by another actress. One thing I had to say about the original actress of Marilyn, they said that they based the Marilyn character out of Marilyn Monroe. Blonde, beautiful, but she sticks out like a sore thumb with the whole family. Which I do kind of like her because she does make me think of Marilyn Monroe. But when they recast her with another actress, the other actress looked a little bit like the actress from Bewitched. Trying to do the nose wiggling thing. I don't know if I got it or not. And one thing about the wife. Now, the one who played the original wife named Phoebe was replaced by Lily, and not many people know that the actress who played Lily Munster, her name is Ivana DiCarlo. Now, for those of you who don't know who Ivana DiCarlo is, Ivana DiCarlo was one of the most beautiful exotic actresses way back in the 50s. She started her career as a dancer thanks to her mother, who kind of pushed her on becoming a Broadway dancer. Just a dancer, of course, and an actress. And she also sings too. And when they decided to change the cast and they had Ivana DiCarlo playing the wife, the actor who played Herman and Grandpa, Fred Gwynne and Al Lewis. Fred Gwynne, he's the one who played Herman. That's Fred Gwynne, and that's Al Lewis who plays Grandpa. Fred Gwynne and Al Lewis did complain to the people about having Ivana DiCarlo playing Lily because she's a big time actress and she'll take over the whole scenery. But after seeing her performance, it turns out that she's more level to the other cast. So they changed their mind and like, what the hell? She stays. And she does a pretty outstanding performance playing the wife who wears a pants around the family and always henpecks Herman every time when he does something stupid. But they both still love each other no matter what. And if you want to know more about Ivana DiCarlo, you can look her up. I mean, she's very beautiful, and she's gone through a lot of things that you wouldn't even believe what she's been through. But Fred Gwynne, on the other hand, believe it or not, this Frankenstein monster outfit that Fred Gwynne's been wearing, well, it's the same outfit and costume and prosthetics that Boris Karloff wore on Frankenstein. So pretty much he was wearing Boris Karloff's outfit. But the problem was, the costume was hot as hell. I mean, he drunk nothing but lemonade. He couldn't eat anything because he was just sweating constantly. And it also made him kind of puny. I mean, the costume was making him very, very skinny. And Al Lewis, on the other hand, he tries to complain about the costume, that they should have changed it a bit. But after the 2 seasons of The Monster, which I have here, the second season of The Monsters. Now, the second season made about over 30 episodes of The Monsters in the second season. And they also met other members of the family of the Monsters, like Lily and Grandpa also have a son who goes by the name of Lester, who is also a werewolf. And also they have another cousin who is the creature of the Black Lagoon. One thing I thought was really funny is when Herman and his super strength, that's one thing that's funny about the show. Every time when Herman does something, something happens. Like if he bangs his fist on the table, it shatters. Or if he punches something, he busts a hole through the wall. And when he jumps, he creates an earthquake. I wanna. Sorry, folks, don't know my own strength. Anyway, when he hit their cousin, who's a creature of the Black Lagoon, you can see the water spraying out of his face, which was kind of funny. I mean, everybody loved the Munsters, and I guess the show pretty much was the start of people taking classic horror movie monsters and make them more funny, because the Munsters was the inspiration to other cartoons and other comedies they made recently, like Monster Mash starring Bobby Boris Picken, the one who sang the original singer who sung, "He did the mash, he did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash, he did the mash. He catch on in the flash, he did the mash. He did the monster mash, wow." And also, there were tons of cartoon reference. I also heard that the Munsters also inspired Mel Brooks to make Young Frankenstein, which I'm going to review soon, and also that comedy series cartoon called Groovy Ghoulies, made in the '70s, where you have Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Frankenstein monster playing instruments and do these funny skits, which is a lot like Rowan Martin's Laugh-In. If you don't know what Rowan Martin's Laugh-In is, you should look it up. They're very funny. I heard Sabrina the Teenage Witch is in it, not the ones from the TV show with Melissa Joan Hart, but the Sabrina from the comic books. They had the rights to have the character from the comics in the Groovy Ghoulies. Anyway, back on the thing. After they were done with the second season, that's when the show ended. But some of the people didn't want to, end the whole franchise with the Munsters. So they decided to make two Munsters movies. One called Munsters Go Home, where Herman, his cousin passed away from England, and he inherited their states, and he's going to be Lord Munster in England. But there are another Munster family who don't look like monstrous like they do, and they're trying to kill him so they can be out of the way and out of the will. And also there was another one called The Munsters Revenge. On Munsters Revenge, they went to a wax museum and they found wax statues of themselves. But little did they know that there's a mad scientist who's behind the museum. These wax figures are robots, and they have them controlled to scare the entire town. And Herman and Grandpa, they get blamed for terrorizing people and get arrested. So all they're trying to do is trying to clear their name. Which that was the last time they ever had the Munsters. But not for long, because during the 80s, they decided to bring the Munsters back, so they made a brand new series called The Munsters Today. In this one, it had the origin, like how did the monsters stay what they are in the 80s? It's because in the 50s, Grandpa created a machine. It would put him into slumber for years. But sadly, Grandpa goofed up the machine, and now they fell asleep and woke up in the 80s. So now the Munsters has to adapt in the 80s. And Marilyn, she starts dressing more proper. And Eddie, he changed his schoolboy old-fashioned uniform and changed it to leather jackets and red shirt and jeans. Hey, it's my style. I always love wearing jeans, and I always love wearing a t-shirt and leather jackets. To me, leather jackets are cool. Trust me on that one. Now, the Munsters Today, they only lasted for like 2 seasons, and then after that, that was it. until all of a sudden somebody decided to make a love letter to the Munsters in the early 90s. Now, after Fred Gwynne, who played Herman Munster, who died from certain illness, they decided to make a love letter movie of the Munsters called Here Come the Munsters, where now the actor who played Herman, he loved the Munsters when he was a kid, so he's trying to be more like Fred Gwynne because he wanted to, give credit where credit is due. And they have a whole family who are now being sort of trying to adapt in the world we live in, and also somehow Herman gets blamed for something that he didn't do, and he gets arrested, but Grandpa keeps finding a way to save Herman by creating a copy. And of course, believe it or not, they had the actor who played Eddie, Al Lewis, who played Grandpa, and of course, Ivana DiCarlo playing a family who was in a restaurant, and Herman was their waiter. So he was just walking in and meet those old cast members, which was a huge credit that they ever done. And then after the movie, they made another Munster holiday special, and this one is called Munster's Scared Little Christmas. It's where the Munsters celebrates Christmas. And I guess Herman has a chance to dress up as Frankenstein. Now, some of the characters are recast again, but I haven't seen the movie yet, so I got nothing to say on this one. I'm just not much of a Christmas guy, to tell you the truth. I'm more into Halloween, as you can tell. And then, years later, they decided to do a reboot of the Munsters, but they didn't call it that. This brand new series is now called Mockingbird Lane. You have Eddie Izzard playing Grandpa, and What's-His-Head from Joe Apartment playing Herman. But as you can see here, all the monster characters looks more normal, while Marilyn looks like she's in her 50s. Now, haven't seen any of the episodes of Mockingbird Lane. I hope that YouTube would show some clips or something. But I got nothing to say about Mockingbird Lane. I mean, it's different, I'll give it that. That all these monsters, now they just look more human. And Marilyn looks like she's stuck in the 60s, or 50s, whichever one. And that's about it about the monsters. When would the monster ever come back and make a reboot or movie or do like they did with the Addams Family? Who knows? But I guess, like they say, the monsters never die. Although the cast does, but like Ivana DiCarlo, she passed away recently. What a shame. Ed Lewis is trying to run for politics, but everybody knew him. I mean, he's more of a right-wing hippie. And the actor who played Eddie Munster, he'd gone through a lot of troubles, like every other child star. That's the thing I always have a problem with on Hollywood. Every child star always gets in trouble when they get older. Look at Danny Bonaducci, or the actor who played Willis on Different Strokes, or the actor who played Greg Brady. That's his name. I mean, every child star always goes through trouble. That you can't help but feel sorry for them. But anyway, this is my review for the day. So if any of you like this review of the Munsters, please leave a comment down below, hit like, and subscribe for more reviews. And stay tuned, folks, because there's going to be more Multi-Voice-Oween coming soon. And I'm going to review some... My next review is going to be something... It was created by Franken Bass. And this one inspired Tim Burton to make Nightmare Before Christmas. So... Have a scary day.